Welcome to the Kindness Principles podcast. I believe kindness is a cultural strategy that empowers people to create meaningful lives, healthier relationships, stronger organizations, and a world where everyone can thrive. My name is Cindy Smarsh, and I'm really glad you're here.
Hello, everybody out there. This is Dr. Sally Good, and I'm really happy that we are in part two of the wellness workplace. And if you're popping in, let us know where you are in the chat. We'd love to find out what different parts of the world you're in. Maybe even tell us what your job is. I know we have a lot of HR people coming in, agile leaders, and sometimes we get a couple of CEOs that pop in as well. So it's always my pleasure to introduce Cindy Smarsh because Cindy Smarsh has created something that is so marvelous and is going to change the corporate climate to a significant degree. She has created the kindness principles, and underneath that is the kindness code. And when you hear about it today, you'll see more about what I mean. And then also, too, in the upcoming days, if you'd like to learn more, there's a notification on the advertisement of like how to reach her. She is the kindness code in LinkedIn. So if you'd like to reach her, there she is. So today, without further ado, here is Miss Cindy Smarsh, the CEO and founder of the Kindness Principles.
Thank you, Sally, so much for having me. I appreciate being able to be here with you. It's always wonderful to collaborate together. And thank you all for joining us today. I am so grateful when people come ready and eager to make their workplaces more places for wellness, because when we love where we're working, it makes life better in all the other areas of our life. So I am definitely excited to be here to share some new information today that I have discovered and how I can specifically help move that needle for you in your own organization. So, recently I attended a masterclass with Matthew Champagne, who is a best-selling author of the Survey Handbook, and he says the three top drivers of loyalty to keep employees for life are: they want their voice heard. Okay, they want to be heard, they want to know they're making a difference, and they want to know how they compare to others. And so let's just look at those for a second. So everybody wants to be seen and heard, right? We all want to feel like we belong, that we matter, and so forth. And so it's very important for us to prove this to them in our workplaces on a consistent basis, that they are seen, that they are heard. And then, of course, they want to know they're making a difference, that what they do matters, that they are having an impact. And besides just telling them, oh, you matter, you're having an impact, you want to give them specific feedback to understand how what they do over here in the company makes a huge difference company wide and with the customers and clients and so forth that you are serving. And then the comparison is having the knowledge of the results, excuse me, of what they're doing is the basis for their continued motivation and purpose and being driven by that purpose. And so always giving them a sense of how how what they're doing has created a result that is making a big difference, and to continue to compare that to other results and things that are wanted, to give them a focus to move forward with. So then he talked about the 5 facets of job satisfaction. And I thought this was just fascinating, because a lot of companies think it's how much money are they making, what benefit package are they receiving, and things like that, which of course we know everybody needs to make money, everybody needs to pay their bills. So I'm not downplaying that, but actually the top 5 that he has found in his decades of research is: number one, that they have skill variety. So, in other words, they feel like there many facets of themselves are being utilized in the workplace. And then that there, number two, that there is meaningfulness behind what they're doing. Again, of course, that it matters, that there's an impact involved. And number 3 is that they have some autonomy. So again, people want to be trusted. Employees want to be trusted that they know what they're doing and that they will be disciplined in their work for your company. So to give them that autonomy, that sense of freedom to accomplish things in the timing and the ways they see fit, and to make really good decisions on the job on their own as they're moving through their days and weeks with you. And number four, I've already said the word impact, but there it is again. So knowing that what they're doing affects more than just what's right in front of them, but that there's a ripple effect to the work that they're doing. And then number five, that there is feedback, not just an annual review. Matthew Champagne talked about this very specifically. He said many companies work in the model of giving an annual review, if any reviews at all. And he says the minimum he recommends is quarterly. And I'd like to suggest that we think about feedback as just a cultural language on a daily, weekly basis, that we're giving direct, clear, specific information to our team about what's going well this week, what's not going great, where we could make adjustments to really make the greater success level for everyone. So here, with that in mind, here are some powerful questions I put together that you can ask your team on a regular basis to check their pulse and work on increasing their job satisfaction so you can keep loyal employees that truly want to work with you and for you and are really driven to bring their best every day. So number one, so there's 5 questions. So number one is, what is your favorite part of working here? Wouldn't you love to know that with everybody that you're working with? Like all your team members, wouldn't you love to know what their favorite part is? It's kind of like when you have kids growing up and you say, well, what was your best part of your day? And they, of course, say lunch and recess, right? We hope that our employees, our team members won't say lunch, right? That there's something else that's their favorite aspect of working in your organization. But number 2, also asking them, what is your least favorite part of working here? This really, if they're safe to be honest about that, that can be game changing for the organization to have this information. And number 3, I suggest that you ask them on a scale of 0 to 10, how satisfied are you working here? Now, again, you want to create a culture where they're safe to answer you honestly, or there's no point in asking. And so for the number 4 then is, if there's anything less than a 10, which most people are not going to say 10 probably, unless they feel pressure to do so, the 4th question, the follow-up to that would be then, what would make your answer be a 10 for job satisfaction? In other words, where's the gap? What's the gap? So how can we bridge it as a company so you feel so great working here that you would never dream of leaving? Because we know how much turnover costs companies. It costs billions of dollars a year in this country for the retention issues. And then number 5, I love this question, and I'd love to see how brave you are to ask your team, your employees, if you were the boss, asking them, if you were the boss, what would you do differently here? So these powerful questions to ask your team will give you feedback that is like giving you gold, because these are things that really can crack open the door to greater conversation about what works for people, what's important for your people. And you want to keep your people. If you have people you don't want to keep because of how they're not showing up or they're not effective, then you need to make decisions to make that move, because it isn't healthy to keep people who are not in good alignment with the company. But the ones you really want to keep, you want to make sure that you're hearing them, you see them, you hear them, and it matters what they have to say. And you may not be able to fulfill every request that they have. I'm certainly not suggesting that you take their list and you go, okay, we'll do it all tomorrow. That may not be realistic or even appropriate in some cases. But some typical answers that people are going to give you are things like, would you please put a coffee machine in the break room? Or could I have every 4th Friday off or leave early to go to my kids' track meet? Or uh, in other words, they're generally not asking for crazy things. Can I come in at 9 o'clock and stay till 6 instead of start my day at 8 and stay till 5? I mean, most people are not going to give big asks that are completely unreasonable and out of control. It's some of the most simple, um, easy gestures that can lift up the spirits of your team and make them feel really super important. So, what is the secret ingredient to all these kinds of initiatives and these ideas of offering feedback and welcoming conversation and treating them like they're seen and heard? The secret ingredient is kindness. These are all examples of kindness initiatives. And I believe kindness is more than a virtue. It's not just a nice, fluffy word, it's actually a cultural strategy that empowers people to create meaningful lives and healthier relationships and stronger organizations and a world that's really going to work for everybody. So, we want to create an organization where everybody can thrive. And so, my mission and why I am here with you today is to teach kindness as a transformative cultural strategy, empowering people worldwide to build those healthy relationships personally and professionally and meaningful lives in every area they are at home, at work, at school, and in their communities. So I've created the kindness code to lead you to the highest version of this approach in your organization. And I want to talk you through that code now. Okay. So, so it's an acronym, kindness. All right. So we're going to start with the letter K, and it very much flows with the what I've already shared, and that is to know your team members, know them. Like, your organization is about people, not necessarily just a product or a service. It's about your people. So you want to know these people. They're very important to you and the success of your company. And so show that you care, show that they matter, ask them about their lives outside of the office because they have a whole other life going on. And I know you know this, but it only takes a little bit of time, and every little effort will make a deep impact on the people that are working with you and for you. And the other K I would say here is keep communicating. Keep communicating. Why is this important? Well, it's just like the feedback initiative I spoke of earlier. Communicating in that way for sure. So we know what's going well, we know where we need to make adjustments, asking their input and ideas about goals you have going on in the company, what they think would be helpful, what might work, where they're struggling to move the needle on a project or something. Just keeping the communication going. The more transparent you are in leadership, the safer people feel. It's when there's secretive behavior in leadership that people start to dream up all kinds of ideas about what might be happening or what's not going on, or what's going to happen next, and it causes fear and anxiety, and then people cannot do their best work no matter how hard they try. So you want to know your people and keep communicating with them. Okay, the letter I. So integrate all aspects of the organization or corporation. So depending on how large or small you are, it may not be obvious to every department or team member how what they do matters to this team or department over here, or how what project they're working on has a direct effect on this project over there. And so you want to give them this sense of the holistic view of your organization and the significance that they are playing in that whole system. And then along with that we want to inspire. This is the other I, another bonus here. I, positivity, inspiring positivity. So we all have brains, and our brains have a negativity bias because it's a built-in protection system for us. Our brain is always looking out to protect us. So it's looking for problems, it's looking for danger, it's looking for change. And so we tend to have a more negative bias in our lives. And so what we want to do is be intentional about being more positive and seeing what's going well and feeling gratitude and feeling accepted and appreciated and things like that. So any feel good activities you can do or gestures you can make to help people feel really good about themselves and what they're contributing, and feeling like a part of something, that they belong to something bigger than themselves, is really going to make a difference in your company's culture. And then the first N is to nurture their personal and professional growth. So this is important because we want to grow people, not just in their skill set for what you need them for, but also help them to grow as people. Because as they get more mature, as they get more wise, as they get more comfortable in their own skin, they are going to show up better and better and better for the company objectives, right? They're going to be a stronger team member. They're going to be a bigger contributor to all the other things that you have in mind. So I want to give you an example of this because I recently heard Gary Ridge speaking on a podcast, and he's a former CEO of the WD-40 company, and he says that people need to belong and feel valued and work where mistakes are framed as learning opportunities. He kept satisfaction levels at work at 97%, even during COVID. And he was describing how he did this. Then this company, the WD-40 company, is all over the world in, like, I don't know, 16 companies or something. There's many, many, many employees. And he said that they kept satisfaction up even though they couldn't be together in person, of course, but they had virtual gatherings frequently. They even had like comedians come on virtually to give the employees some joy and a break from the regular, duties and tasks and responsibilities of their day. He said they also had some cooking classes that were done from the French group as well for the whole company wide, and that when the team members of the company were surveyed, they said they felt safe and well all through COVID. And he reiterated time and time again that the culture of the company is about people, not the product. And so there's an example of a CEO who knew how to nurture people and knew that nurturing people personally, as well as, of course, providing them adequate resources and training and so forth to do their jobs, was a winning combination to lift the company up, even in a pandemic and beyond it. The D stands for dazzle and deliver. I love the word dazzle and deliver. So we want to surprise people we work with in really fun ways. We want to go the extra mile when we can. And I experienced this actually working many years ago, because my kids are 30 and 28, or just about 30 and 28. And I was pregnant with my first child, and I worked at a hospice in Iowa. And one day, completely unbeknownst to me, the whole team I worked with in the grief department and the social work department, a couple of departments came together and threw me this beautiful, lovely baby shower right during the work day. And everybody was in on it, and they brought a delicious meal and all these presents, and we played games, and we had such fun. And it was just a lovely celebration. So kind, so generous. And I was absolutely wowed. I was flabbergasted. I couldn't believe it. It was just a wonderful, wonderful acknowledgement, and I really appreciated it. And that was one of many reasons that I stayed at that company for 9 years. So you want to dazzle your people. You want to deliver something that's outside the norm whenever you possibly can, and get creative with this. And it doesn't have to be as big and wow as throwing them a party in the middle of the workday, but it could be, or it could be something even bigger than that you can think of. But just think of, how can I dazzle my team members? How can I How can I surprise them in some wonderful way and help them feel so good and know how appreciated they really are and how much we need them and want them here with us? The second N is all about navigating the mission, the vision, and the purpose of the organization. So, again, people want to belong and they want to be a part of something that matters. And so, you want to make sure that you're constantly communicating the values of your company, the mission, the goals, your vision. Why are we all here? Why are we all in this together? And what difference are we making? And why are we doing that? And so this is important that you're constantly communicating this. So again, when I'm just somebody sitting in my cubicle doing my whatever I am doing at my computer, I know it's much bigger than my little to-do list that I have for today. There's deep meaning behind what I am doing. I am impacting something far greater than completing this email or getting this report together. It's inspiring, and people need to be inspired. They want to be inspired. The letter E, we want to empower team members to make decisions. Okay, so this is part of that autonomy we talked about earlier. So you want to trust your employees. You want to build a culture where you know you have prepared them so well and given them focus so well, and that they understand the values of the organization so well that you can trust them to move on decisions when they need to. So it doesn't have to go up 3 or 4 channels before something can actually get done. Sometimes quick decisions need to be made and can't always be checked in with everyone and so forth. And I want to share the example of Nordstrom's. Okay, Nordstrom's, of course, is a clothing store, but have you heard the story of an elderly man coming along into Nordstrom's one day and wanting to be reimbursed for his tires he had purchased there at Nordstrom's? This is just a great story. So, this is true. I checked this out. I double checked. I triple checked. This is true. A gentleman actually came in and he was unhappy with the tires he had purchased at Nordstrom's and asked for a full refund. And that person, that Nordstrom employee, was taught to make decisions, the best decisions they can make. And at first, tried to explain to the gentleman that he could not have gotten his tires there because they do not sell tires at Nordstrom's. And he kept pushing back and saying that he had purchased them. And so, guess what? That employee did refund him for tires. Okay. So, you might think this is insane, but the company had set up a culture where people were empowered to make decisions and do the best they could. And I read this story. I first heard of it in this book called The Kindness Revolution. And in this book, they have the entire employee handbook of Nordstrom's in here. And I'm going to read it to you now. So if you think, oh, I'm getting sleepy, this is getting boring, guess what? I'm going to read to you now. So this is the whole handbook. Are you ready? Welcome to Nordstrom. We're glad to have you with our company. Our number one goal is to provide outstanding customer service. Set both your personal and professional goals high. We have great confidence in your ability to achieve them. Nordstrom's rules. Rule number 1, use your good judgment in all situations. There will be no additional rules. Please feel free to ask your department manager, store manager, or division general manager any question at any time. That is the employee handbook at Nordstrom's. And so this person who was working there that was confronted with this awkward situation with this man wanting to get a refund for his tires felt secure that they could make this decision. And yes, this cost Nordstrom some money, right? And yet it kept their reputation high. This company does not have a logo. They don't advertise other than word of mouth and so forth. So the employee did the right thing, did the best thing they could at the time. And companies like Nordstrom who have, have situations like this come up, have a budget for returns and things like that. So you want to be prepared for that. And yeah, so it's a wonderful example of where a team member was able to do the best they thought they could in the moment, and it all worked out beautifully and really teaches us all something really outside the box that can make a difference how we think about things in our workplaces. The first S in kindness is to support your team, support everyone in the organization. What do I mean by this? Why is this important? Because we spend so much of our lives at work, and it's such a huge chunk of our lives, and it can really cause us great duress or great upliftment. And so we want to have all kinds of wellness initiatives, empathy, flexibility, anything you can do to support a team member in having a great life while working with you for you is a benefit to everyone. And we'll talk about all the benefits in just a minute. And then the second S is that this will bring you great success. The research is clear. The benefits to kindness initiatives, whatever you want to call them, having workplace wellness being a top priority, the benefits are ongoing. So here are just a few. These are all backed by research that creates a positive office culture. It encourages personal growth, empowers employees, it enhances performance, it strengthens teamwork, reduces turnover, supports healthy collaboration and innovation, nurtures a more resilient and engaged workforce. It unifies the organization, boosts productivity and retention. It increases creativity, provides a sense of belonging, alleviates stress and anxiety, generates common goals, fosters loyalty, and elevates the company's reputation and success. And that list could go on and on and on and on and on. So you cannot go wrong. You cannot go wrong in following the kindness code in your organization. It will only increase all the things you want to increase and decrease everything you want to decrease. So I have created a guide for you that gives you ideas on how to implement every single aspect of the kindness code. And also included in this guide are loads of research that prove very specifically how kindness produces results that you want in your organizations. And then I also added in the guide 5 reflection questions that you can ask yourselves to help lead you forward. See more, kind of check your pulse. Where are we with these kind of initiatives in our organization right now? What have we done so far? How's it working? What's not working? And so forth, to lead you forward in creating change in your organization. Thank you so much for being here. Please like and subscribe to our show and share this episode with anyone who can benefit. If you'd like to learn more about how the kindness principles can change your life, please DM me on LinkedIn. And thanks again for listening.